Wreck My Podcast. Join us this week down at the local Choky Chicken and hang with the gang from Rocko's Modern Life. We look back at the show that pushed many boundaries at the time the animation on Nickelodeon was as wild as the West. Don't get left in heck as we go on this journey to wreck my childhood. Wreck My Podcast. We're here today to talk about Rocko's Modern Life, which was an animated TV show back in the 90s when we were kids.
Yeah.
I'm here with some guests today, so I'm going to introduce them in typical fashion. I'm probably going to get the voices completely wrong. Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. We have Cam.
Yes, that's when Rocko was a phone sex operator.
Yep. Oh, fish sticks. We got Kreger. That was a hoot. We have Joe Kubis.
Yeah.
Current Wreck My Podcast champion.
Current Wreck My Podcast champion. And then my favorite, I'm nauseous. I'm nauseous.
Oh, it's just
I'm
so
nauseous.
fitting.
That is perfect.
I'm your host, Jordan. That fits me perfectly.
Just so fitting.
I am Filbert, pretty much. So before we get into this, what do you guys remember about this show?
Not much.
I remember almost everything. This was one of my favorite
I remember
shows.
First off,
enjoying it.
Kreger, did you watch it a lot or not really?
Schmedium.
Schmedium, but you watched it a lot,
small
Cam,
and
right?
medium.
Major fan. I
Major
watched
fan.
this with my dad all
Major
the time.
fan?
Major fan.
Major
And Joe, you were a fan then too.
Oh,
of
yeah,
it. Yeah,
big fan.
So,
This was one of my favorite
So, Kreger,
shows
you
as a
were
kid.
probably the only one out of the four of us then that wasn't like a huge fan because.
You
But
also
I'll
have,
give
you
you
also have to remember I'm average
10 years younger.
Average about 2 years younger.
That's
than you
true,
guys.
but this was.
and I didn't grow up with cable.
So 2 years younger. Hang on, this came out in '93 and went to '96. So you
Who
would have
wasn't
been
free?
really young.
I would have been 95 and
Everything
96.
I-
I would have been 5.
Yeah, I would have been 95.
I would have been
Everything.
5 and
I
96.
realized everything I watched of this was all reruns, which is probably why some of the
Yeah.
band episodes I don't remember ever seeing. Which we will be watching one band episode.
Yes.
But yeah, I just
I
remember.
remember everything.
I remember loving this show so much, and I'll get into it in a little bit. But I
Yeah.
remember
Wasn't it
loving this
supposed
show
to be
Jordan,
so
re-
much.
just
rebooted?
get in there, man.
What'd you say?
Wasn't it supposed to be rebooted or something?
Oh,
They
Yes.
did like a movie.
we'll talk about this
Yeah.
later. The movie has not come out yet,
Yeah.
but they announced it in 2016 or 17,
Yeah, it's been
and
a
it's
while.
still technically supposed to come out, and I think it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been released yet. But let's
The
get,
one thing you have to think about too is it's animation. And animation always takes a longer time to be.
not always. Sometimes
Not
animation
really.
goes, especially
Compared to like
especially
other like
Rocko.
actual movies.
Rocko was made to be able to be done easily. Like Joe Murray, who created Rocko, created the animation style and the
Shout out
look
Joe
so that
Murray.
people could learn it really fast and create it really quick. He did that. Do you
Still,
guys?
just as the general nature of.
I guess, yeah.
animation.
General
Do you guys
nature?
remember?
General nature?
Do you guys remember any specific
We're
moments
starting this.
from Rocko's Modern
I remember
Life
the
that
entire
stands out?
episode where Filbert has to migrate to that big giant island in order to like populate his race. I remember that.
Wow.
I also remember really, really big man making you look into the nipples of
Oh
the future.
yes, that's a thing I mentioned here. I remember that too. And he had like it was like RRBM and like hair across his chest with his
Yeah.
purple nipples.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so
I also
weird.
remember that hippo that was a frequent recurring character
don't remember
that
the hippo.
they would like someone would like fall in their cleavage and she'd say
I
something
totally remember
and
this.
then like shoot them out of their
Yep.
boobs. I remember that.
See,
You know what
was
I didn't
great.
realize is that like Rocko's catchphrase was always like it's a dangerous day or something. Like he'd be like
Yeah.
it's garbage day, it's a dangerous day, or
Yeah.
he'd be like it's this day, it's grocery day, it's a dangerous day.
Yeah.
That's my terrible Rocko impression.
that
was
sounds
alright.
Yeah.
that sounds like a very Australian kind of saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to do Australian, but can't.
Hi, g'day, mate.
Hi,
Hey,
g'day,
Put another
mate.
shrimp on the barbie, eh?
I remember the episode where Spunky was eating Mr. and Mrs. Big Head's salmon bushes.
And
is
that's
the
gotta be a
most-
euphemism.
That is the most like suggestive sentence like
No,
ever.
we're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
show
this
was
show is
based
riddled
off of
with
euphemisms.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's all about it.
Deep into
The place where they would eat all the time was called the Choky Chicken.
Yes, and they had to change it in season 4
Yeah.
to Chewy Chicken
To
because
Chewy Chicken.
it took 3 seasons for them to realize, oh, you're referring to masturbating.
Yeah.
Masturbation.
I-
you know,
Rocko
love
worked
chicks
at a
is one.
sex line.
Only in
Yeah.
one episode.
in one
though.
episode, and it was for like one flashback.
Yeah.
But this is like an episode that I think completely formed my sense of humor. This, in tandem with the Adventures of Pete and Pete,
Yeah.
was a thing that it's like it's a mix of the highbrow and the really dumb.
Well, they were specifically targeting adults and teenagers, even though it was a kid's show.
Yes.
This is what Nickelodeon was in the early 90s,
Yeah,
though.
Nickelodeon kicked.
They were
butt
on the
in
cutting
90s.
edge back then.
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy.
They were essentially what Rick and Morty are now. Was
exactly
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, the place that I used to teach at CalArts, when I did the summer program there, everyone that went to CalArts in like the 80s graduated that high school program and then started all of these shows.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they all
That
have
is
such like a
incredible.
similar vision and
Exactly.
idea and
they
stuff.
come back
Yeah.
and they talk to all of the students
so
that are there
cool.
currently, and like all these high schoolers are learning
Well-
about being punk rock and like completely just fucking the system.
Well, I'm going to get into it here
Watch
then.
your
rock.
mouth.
So Rocko's Modern Life is an
Punk
American
rock.
animated sitcom created by Joe Murray for
Yeah, buddy.
Nickelodeon. Joe Murray also created the Cartoon Network show Camp Lazlo. That was
Oh,
after
that show was amazing.
Yeah, but it was kind of after our time, so I never really watched
Yeah.
it very
I
much.
watched it religiously.
Yeah. The series premiered on September 18th, 1993, and ended November 24th, 1996. They had 4 seasons
it off.
with 52 episodes. Similar to Ren and Stimpy for its adult content and innuendos, it constantly got censored, and its audience was made up of 1/5 of adults, which is, I thought there'd be more, honestly,
That's
but
pretty
that's
high.
still pretty good for a Nickelodeon
But
show.
also, does that take into account like parents that are watching it with their children?
No. It takes into account only like the demographic for the Nielsen counts and
The
everything.
18 to
yeah,
35.
exactly. So you knew there were more watching probably. We
Yeah.
did mention in August of 2016 they announced a TV special that has still never come out yet. Many of the voice staff, illustrators, and directors moved from Rocko to SpongeBob, including
Yeah, they did.
Steven Hillenburg, who was a big part of Rocko, and he created SpongeBob. Rest in peace. Murray, the creator, made the Nickelodeon execs aware when they hired him he doesn't write for children, and they said they were fine with that. So
That's
from the
amazing.
get-go, he was like, guys, I don't write children material, and they were like, that's cool, do your thing.
It's cool. He was upfront
Do
about
you,
it.
Yeah.
bro?
Yeah.
Do you?
But here's the sad part. Murray's wife committed suicide 2 months before they began production on season 1.
No.
So it tainted the process a little bit for him. But Murray didn't think the show would last, so he moved to L.A. to do it for a season. And then when it got canceled, he was going to go back to the Bay Area and tie up all the loose ends and
Yeah.
everything. But they kept renewing it. So when they renewed it for season 4, he said this would be his last involvement. But he encouraged them to continue it without him. But Nickelodeon said, if you're not going to be involved, we're done. So when you leave after season
So
4,
that's
we're
why
done.
it ended.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why. I don't know if you guys remember the episode of Mr. and Mrs. Big Head when their son was a big studio executive and director.
So here's the thing. That is called the Wacky Deli episode, and
Yeah.
it's one we're watching, and it mirrors Murray's
Yeah.
thoughts towards
I was
Nickelodeon.
just gonna say that.
Because the whole premise is that they get hired as animators to create this show, and it becomes a hit, but none of them want to actually keep doing it.
Yeah.
So they try and sabotage
And sink it,
the
yeah.
show, but it just gets more and more popular. And he was pretty much writing like meta what his life he was feeling. So yeah,
Amazing.
you hit it right on the head, and that's
Interesting.
one of the 2 episodes we're watching.
Oh, I love that episode so much.
So it was considered a critical success, pretty much. Like everyone loved Rocko's Modern Life. They
Yeah,
thought
it's
it
a
was
perfect show.
inventive.
It was
They thought it
great.
was amazing. Heifer, his best friend, he showed up before the show was even a thing on MTV. If you remember, there was an MTV ad where Heifer got branded with the MTV mark. It was a little like quick
don't.
MTV ad. Yeah. So he showed
because
up way
they
ahead
were
of
the
time.
same company. Viacom
Yeah.
owns both.
Mhm, yeah. So let's get into some of the actors here because these voice actors are.
Sorry. Continue.
These actors are just like are big voice actors and everything. So, we're taking a break here. What's going on?
No, go ahead. Continue.
No.
Keep
No. I want to know what's going on right now.
No, so Joe was
Share
asking.
with the class.
There are a plethora of buttons on his new.
Oh, but none of them do anything?
No, his new belt. There are different buttons. It's basically just different sounds.
Oh, I see.
Are they not working?
Well, no, I turned it off.
Did you just click those buttons in my face just to make me feel terrible about myself?
Joseph,
No,
you have my. You should not feel bad because
I don't feel bad.
you should.
Anyway, bringing it back to Rocko's Modern Life, let's
Yeah.
talk about some of the voice actors here. So,
the face.
the guy who voiced Rocko and Spunky, his dog, was Carlos Alice Rocky, I think
Okay.
is how he said his name. Here's some other things he voiced. Mike Wazowski in Monsters, Inc.
Wow.
and all the video games. Oh, no, just the video games
just
he
the video
voiced.
games,
Mal
'cause Billy
Wazowski,
Crystal's the other
yes.
one,
Sheen's dad in Jimmy Neutron.
No.
Yeah, he did a bunch of voices in Hey Arnold, like background characters. He was Winslow in Cat Dog, the little
Perfect.
blue mouse.
Nice.
He did a few SpongeBob voices, nothing of note. He was Nestor in all the Happy Feet movies. If anyone's seen that, I haven't
I
seen
saw
them.
the first one.
Saw the first
Yeah,
one.
he did a bunch of voices in Avatar: The Last Airbender. He was a
Really?
recurring character in Reno 911. He voices a recurring character in Archer. He was Bane.
Hold on, which character?
I don't know. I didn't write that down. He was Bane in the Arkham games.
Cool.
And he played Mr. Crocker on The Fairly Odd Parents.
No!
Yeah, the teacher. Yeah.
Yes.
So this dude, and that's just some. Yeah, that's just some. That's just some of his voicing credits. He had like 500 voicing credits. It was
That's
insane.
amazing.
Oh my.
Now,
Gee Willikers.
do you guys know who voiced Heifer?
Was it the same
Hey,
guy that
I
did
was-
Plankton in SpongeBob?
No.
Hawthorne Heights.
He is a guy later, though.
He's
we'll
a guy
talk about.
in that, yeah.
Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob,
No way.
was Heifer.
What?
Yeah.
That guy's list is ridiculous.
Listen to this. So I put down just his honorable mention ones.
Yeah.
He was Cow and Chicken
He
in
was
Cow and
Cow
Chicken.
and
I didn't
Chicken.
know that was the same person.
Yeah.
He was a voice from Escape from Monkey Island, one of the professors, which is a LucasArts game that no one knows about. It's an amazing game.
I know about that game.
Okay, it's a good game.
Yeah.
He was Courage,
Nerd.
the Cowardly Dog.
He was.
He was in Dexter's Laboratory. I don't know who he played in Dexter's Laboratory. He was in Stripperella. He was the
Forgot about that
He was
show.
the narrator in the Powerpuff Girls.
He was.
Nice.
He played a character in Johnny Bravo. He was Dog
pretty
in
mama.
Cat Dog.
He was Dog.
He's in the
see that.
Clone Wars. He does some things for Rick and Morty. He's been in Adventure Time.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, and here's my favorite thing he got a credit for. There was a video game in 1998 that he voiced something in called Microshaft Wind Blows 98.
I love
we
that.
need to look this up. What
He
is that
also-
video game?
He also played Eduardo in Foster's Home for Imaginary
yes,
Friends.
he did do Foster's, but I never watched that, so I didn't write it down.
That show
was
Yeah.
an
so
unsung
underrated.
hero
So-
of
sorry,
a show.
Sorry for
Yeah.
the level.
So Tom
that show
Kenny,
was really underrated.
he's probably one of the most prolific animated voice actors in the past 15 years, 20 years probably.
I teach his son.
Do you,
Are you kidding? Why is it?
no. Every son.
I teach his son.
Oh, I was,
Yeah, we're gonna go
I
with it.
got So
Okay,
excited.
so
It's-
Ed-
you only teach one famous person's son.
No, I teach like a bunch of famous people's sons.
It's a,
But you're
it's a
not- but you
private
can't
Catholic
disclose.
school. So Ed and Bev Bighead were both voiced by Charlie Adler. He did things in Tailspin. He was Buster Bunny in Tiny Toon Adventures.
Wow.
He voiced the teacher, I think, in Beavis and Butthead. He was Ickis in All Real Monsters.
that's a show that is severely underrated. Was
Yes.
All Real Monsters.
It scared
Yeah.
me too much as a kid.
It's perfect.
I actually misquoted. Tom Kenny was not Cow and Chicken. He played a secondary character. Charlie Adler was Cow and Chicken.
You know what? I can see that because
I
Did Tom
quoted
Kenny
that
play the
incorrectly.
devil in that show?
Tom Kenny, I think he played
well,
something. I
have you
forget
ever
what
seen
it was.
Tom Kenny does? There's a series. I don't know if it's on YouTube or Facebook. And I see the videos where he gets different people to come in and they read serious movie scenes as different cartoon characters.
it's
I think it's on
amazing.
Nerdist. I'm pretty
is-
sure.
It's on Nerdist.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
The last thing that Charlie Adler did is he voiced Starscream in all the Transformer movies.
No.
Yeah, the live action ones. Now, who Cam was talking about, Mr. Lawrence, Doug
Yeah.
Lawrence, he voiced Filbert. He's Plankton, Larry the Lobster, and Fred, my leg,
He does do the
on
my leg.
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
And what Cam probably loves him for is he was in the Aquabat Super Show.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this guy's a fairly interesting dude. He's a very interesting dude. And then finally, Billy West played the TV announcer in one episode. And what you know Billy West from? Like he's not a huge. He only had one part on Rocko's Modern Life, but he voiced Doug.
Yeah, Doug.
He voiced Stimpy.
Yeah.
What?
He voiced Bugs Bunny in Space Jam.
Nice.
And Billy West is also Fry from Futurama.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my.
So they got him to do
word.
an episode, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into fun facts here real quick.
Okay.
I'm so
I
excited.
have a million fun facts about the show.
This is
So
the most
excited.
excited I've been
Yeah.
about a podcast in forever.
So Rocko was originally yellow and was changed to beige because a toy company wanted to license, but they said they already had a yellow character. So after changing Rocko to beige, the company pulled out of the deal and they decided, he's beige now.
Wait, so they changed it for the company.
Yeah.
and
And
then the company backed
just
out.
Because
pulled out.
Rocko originally made his debut in a comic that never got published, and he was yellow, and they were going to keep him yellow, but this company wanted him beige, and they were like, whatever, he's beige.
and then they just make like heifer yellow instead.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's cool.
The show was originally going to be called The Rocko Show.
Okay.
They changed it to Rocko's Modern Life.
Which is a good title.
Yeah.
Better title.
Murray specifically hired writers who never worked in animation before.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want people to fall into like that groove. He
Hell,
wanted people to think
yeah.
outside of the box.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. Kate
Bro.
Pearson and Fred Schneider from the B-52s worked on the theme song.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nice.
that was a fun
talked
fact from
about
a
that.
long time ago.
I remember. You remember.
I remember.
B-52, shout out Atlanta, Georgia.
Why Atlanta, Georgia?
That's
Cole?
where Cole lives.
Are B-52s from Atlanta?
They're from Atlanta,
We're doing
Georgia.
Is that where the rock
we're
lobsters
doing so
are?
many like informational
Lobster?
things we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Here
comes a jellyfish. Here comes a dogfish.
It's what it EI is. We're going to Channel Z. Dude, I listened to B-52s as a kid religiously.
Yeah.
B-52s were my favorite band when I
My-
was like 6 years old.
My parents was their song at their wedding was "Summer Love" by B-52.
That's so amazing. I used to sing. I was 6 or 7. I used to sing Hot Pants all the time.
Oh, it's such a good
So
song.
put your hot pants on.
Your parents have to have that on film.
And I loved.
I probably have it on film
Private
somewhere.
Idaho. I was like,
Oh,
you're living
Private
in
Idaho.
your own private Idaho.
So good. The B-52s are amazing.
They're amazing.
Good.
They're so good.
They
All
were
right.
just art students that didn't want to be like. They're like, let's just make music. They were just hanging out one time, and they were never musicians before.
Well, you could tell because their singing voice was, "Here I am, and I got a how much of." They're pretty much Randy Newman with less
that was
tone.
spot on.
Yeah, you sounded just
oh my
like
God,
him.
Randy Newman. Can we
I
do
walk
a-
up to the apple tree, I pick an apple.
That was your Donald Trump. That's Donald Trump.
Oh, is that Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, that is kind of Donald Trump. I don't know. I lose all my impersonation. Okay, anyway.
And we built
Joe-
the wall.
Joe Murray, the creator, voiced a character in the show. Ralph Bighead, the Bighead son that you were talking about,
Yeah.
was the animator, which is funny because he's an animator. Richard Simmons voiced an aerobics instructor.
did, I
on
remember
another-
that.
And
I
it
do
looked
remember
very
that.
much
So
like him.
amazing.
Such a good episode.
The KFC ripoff Chokey Chicken, like we said, changed their name to Chewy Chicken because, masturbation.
Do you remember the episode where it's like Rocko or Heifer? I think it's Heifer chokes on it and
Yes.
then goes to hell.
Yes, it's called To Heck and Back.
Yeah,
And
To
I
Heck and
almost
Back.
had us
And
watch that
they
one.
cross out the hell like on the thing, and it's like
Heck.
CK.
Yeah,
it's Heck.
and so they refer to hell all the time in the show, and they call it Heck.
Heck, yeah.
And there's an actual lady called like Peggy or something who is like the ruler of Heck or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Oh.
His name's Peggy, but his head is
Yeah.
udders, and milk
Yes.
squirts out.
Yeah. And there's also an episode where Heifer has a existential crisis where he's eating at Chokey Chicken, and when he's eating them, he realizes chickens are people too because
Yeah.
they're all anthropomorphized
Yeah.
animals.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh,
Amazing.
it's so good. It's so good. So although Rocco mostly worked at a comic shop, he also was an underwear model. He was a plumber's assistant in that awesome thing where he keeps pulling the
remember that, yeah.
pants up. We said he was a sex phone operator, and he was also an animator, as we'll see in the episode that we're going to be watching. Most of the main characters became animators at some point in the show because of the episode we're watching.
Yeah.
Rocco is based off of a wallaby that Murray saw at the Bay Area Zoo that was oblivious to the chaos around it, which is why the show is so chaotic, but Rocco's always very like level-headed.
It's a wallaby, mate.
Yeah. So he thought like, wow, this wallaby doesn't even realize what's going on. That would be a great character.
I'm always amazed how like artists get their inspiration.
Yeah,
for those
inspiration is
Yeah,
episodes.
insane.
definitely.
Like in the
Yeah.
most random
It's-
places you wouldn't
yeah.
It's
think.
like art, man.
Yeah, art, man. Heifer's body was based on a hamburger, and his mouth is based on a hot dog.
I believe it.
Yep. If you look, his mouth looks like a hot dog. His body is a
I
hamburger.
can see that.
Filbert was named after the filbert nut, which is a type of hazelnut because
Yeah.
he's a nut.
He is not.
A case of the Donald Duck here. So when Rocco is wearing a shirt, he appears to have no pants on. But when he's not wearing a shirt, a pair of underwear magically appear.
Oh, that's nice.
So he's got a case of the Donald Ducks. Joe Murray actually had a TV fall on his head when he was 5. So that's why in the intro they have that TV fall on everyone.
That's cool.
And he actually
Wait,
he
no,
actually says,
I'm pretty sure I had a TV follow me at one point.
I think we all did when we were
That was
younger.
about a week ago.
We go.
Hey, about a
Joe
week
Murray-
ago.
Week ago.
Joe Murray actually said that his weird outlook on life he attributes to that TV falling on his head and like messing up his worldview.
I love that.
Yeah. Mr. Lawrence, who's Filbert, snuck his audition tape into the submissions, and Murray picked it by random for Filbert, not knowing it was him. So Mr. Lawrence was supposed to be an illustrator only or something like that, or like director or something, and he snuck it in there and he got picked.
That's insane. That like reminds
Yeah.
me of the story of like how Steven Spielberg jumped off the tram and then just walked into the writers' room on Universal, and he was like, "Oh, I work here," and they were like, "Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
And then he
That's
became
insane.
Steven fucking Spielberg.
See,
Are
that's
you-
what they call.
what?
That's
Yeah.
what
I
they.
did not know this.
That's what they call grabbing the brass ring. Sometimes you have to
Yeah.
do something a little bit
They
crazy.
should be calling it
to
grabbing
get
the brass balls.
No, it's a ring. It's a saying, Craig.
I'm changing it to balls.
I'm
like
nauseous.
It's
I'm
like-
nauseous. I'm nauseous.
Turn the page, wash your hands. Turn the page, wash your hands.
All right, so someone asked Murray why there wasn't any strong, positive female characters in the show once on like an AMA or something, and Murray rebutted with, there aren't any strong, positive male characters either. But because of that,
They created
Dr.
Doctor.
Hutchison, the
Yeah.
doctor, because Nickelodeon execs thought the show needed a strong female character. And one of the executives specifically said, we need a strong female character with a good hook. Hence why Murray gave her a hook. He's like, fine. I'll be literal about it. Rocko actually showed up in a Super Nintendo video game before the show came out. The Super Nintendo game went into production before the show aired, and it was based entirely off of concept sketches.
What?
So that SNES game that I don't know if any of you played it. I played it.
I remember it.
Yeah, I
It sounds
rented it
familiar,
once.
yeah.
Or like maybe a few times when I was a kid. But yeah, it was done all before the show
That's
even came out.
insane.
Yeah. Rocco's favorite hobby. Okay, this is where we're going to get into the innuendo part of the fun facts about the shows.
In your endo.
Yeah. Rocco's favorite hobby is jacking. Apparently, it's supposed to be jackhammering. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
let's be honest. We all know.
He loves
I don't get it.
Yeah. The name's me off. Jack me off. So they play a
Come
board.
again?
Yeah.
Please come again.
They played a board game literally called Spank the Monkey.
Amazing.
And they like spank a monkey on the board game. It's
I remember
ridiculous.
that.
This is giving me Just Friends flashbacks.
Yeah. So Heifer gets hooked up to a milk machine in one episode and essentially has an orgasm using it as a sex toy.
Yeah, I remember that.
And here was the note they gave. So originally, when like he orgasmed, I guess you will say, they had hearts in his eye, and the one note that the executive said was, "Change it to stars." Like that's gonna change anything. All right, Rocko.
You're a star, baby.
Wait.
I have stars in my eyes.
Oh, so
When
Rocket.
that happens.
Rocket. Who's Rocket?
Yes.
Rocket Raccoon. Rocko carries a credit card called the All Scottish Show Card, but ASS, and that's huge. ASS, All Scottish Show Card. Great. The doctor's name that he goes to is Miss Dr. Bendova.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. A scene was cut where Rocko is picking berries, and as he picks,
Oh, I remember that. And he honks like the gorilla's testicles.
No, so as he picks one of the berries, we hear a bear yell and jump out of the bush, holding his groin and running away. So
Yeah.
like one of the berries he picked was a bear testicle.
I remember that.
Yeah. Another cut scene is when they have the no-tell motel, which doesn't hide the fact they charge by the hour.
Yeah.
And when they say, oh, we want the whole night, like Rocko and Heifer are getting a room for the night, they say we want the whole night. The guy goes, whoa, that's a lot. They show the Play Slug magazine. We see a slug
I
looking
remember
at the Play Slug.
Yeah.
They watch a movie called Night of the Shaved Kittens. Yeah.
That
and
is
then-
also one of Cam's movies he's created.
Yep.
Yeah,
As we
they
said
were
before,
directing that.
really, really big man is a pseudo superhero who says gaze into his nipples of the future. And there's a whole episode called Closet Clown that's pretty much about a gay clown not wanting to come out of the closet.
I love that.
So that is innuendo stuff. And I say that because one of the episodes we're gonna be watching is called Leapfrog, which
Okay.
was a banned episode, and you'll see why when we watch it.
I'm in.
The second episode we're gonna watch is called Wacky Deli. As I
Yeah.
said, Mirror's Real Life, kind of cool. That was season 4. So we're watching season 1 banned episode, season 4 kind of near the end of the run. Now I watched personally an episode called Trasho Madness, which was the first episode ever released. It was the pilot.
Okay.
I'll tell you my thoughts on it because it was a little bit weird. First off, they use the O a lot because he lives in O-Town,
Right,
and it's
right.
like Kaglamo Company or whatever, and like Trasho Madness. So like the O shows up a bunch. Essentially, what were you gonna say, Cam?
I was just going to go RECYCLE, recycle, CONSERVE, conserve, PROTECT, the rivers, waters, skies, and sea, and then you'll get what we deserve. Do you remember that episode?
No, what is
Nope.
that?
That's when they recycle.
Cam,
That's a Rocko thing.
Yep, it's a Rocko episode where they
Wow.
like talk about protecting the environment and all that stuff.
Cam,
Wow.
you are a
Wow.
I'm a
Wow.
Have you ever been called a dis?
I've never been called a dis.
Today, Junior.
Hooked on phonics, fuck with them for me.
So, Trasho Madness, which was the first episode, was a little confusing to me because they drop you into this world like it's already been built. So, Rocko...
That's kind of cool though.
Kind of. Rocko wakes up and alludes to the fact that they've been living in America for 6 months, but him and Spunky haven't had a good meal because they've been down on their luck in 6 months.
Right.
And he thinks about, oh, the breakfast like Mom used to make, like toaster waffles and some other random crap that like doesn't make sense. What I noticed was there was trash all over Rocco's like house. And what was interesting is the trash men show up and start taking out trash, and he goes, "Oh, the trash men must have gotten their license back. We need to take all the trash out now." Okay, didn't know the trash men didn't have their license. Like, they're expecting you, like, there's episodes leading up to this. So he starts collecting all the trash, and he goes to take it out, but there's a giant dog who's stopping him from doing it that wants to, like, eat him.
Okay.
Which I'm like, are we supposed to know what this dog is, too? Essentially, the whole episode is Rocko trying to get the trash to the trash can without the dog stopping him so that the trash people who got their license back can take it out.
Does the dog have, like, orange hair?
Not orange, but it's, like, spiky hair.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the gag is when he's throwing things out of his fridge, there's this old green nasty goop that's been in there forever. And whenever it sucks up water, it grows bigger and then shoots out like squid ink. And so the big zinger at the end of the episode is when he finally gets all the trash out. He's taking a bath and being like, "Oh, like, glad we got that done." And then Spunky brings the little like gross green thing into the tub and he's like, "Don't put it in the water, not in the water." And then it like grows into the whole house and everything.
I remember that.
The episode was not very good in my opinion.
Yeah.
From what I remember of Rocko being so funny, this episode was really dumb. And I'm like, this was the pilot? Like, this is what they kicked off with? Like, how did this get signed? Like, that's what I thought. But we're going to get to now watch a good episode.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And then we'll come back and give our thoughts and discussions.
Have you watched it already?
I haven't watched these ones we're going to watch.
Okay, cool.
No. So we're going to watch those, then we'll come back, and then we'll do our thing.
Hell yeah.
Baby, come back.
Like a choky chicken wing.
Huh.
Episode come out.
Rocko's Modern Life.
Rocko's Modern Life.
I love how. Okay, we'll just go into it here. Hang on. How am I going to transition into this?
Let's get on in there nice and deep, like, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mr. Big Head.
So now we're back from watching Rocko's Modern Life.
Yeah.
And it was funny watching
get over
the
here.
first episode was from the first season, and then watching the fourth season episode, you could totally tell the B-52s took over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rocko, come feel my eyes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So the first episode we watched was called Leapfrog, which was the band episode all about sex stuff. So essentially, it was Mrs. Big Head
I don't
feeling...
remember a band.
She was feeling unfulfilled
Yeah.
because her husband didn't pay attention to her.
Yes, and so she...
And was
horny.
uninterested in her.
Yeah, so she seeked attention in her neighbor boy.
Rocko.
Rocko.
Little neighbor
So
boy.
a few things that stuck out was when they were watching that TV show at the beginning, that makeout between the two like animals
God,
was
I'm
so weird looking.
Oh, yeah.
So
It reminded me of Wednesday night.
that's a joke for Cam and all the Pocock trivia fans.
And for anyone listening in on
if you listen to
Roundtable.
Around a Round
Yeah.
Table.
Round and round we go.
Anyway, so I had my biggest concern with that episode was why was there a moose in their fridge?
That was your biggest concern?
Well, no. Most importantly, why were they keeping coffee grounds in the fridge?
Also,
I keep my coffee grounds in the freezer.
Also,
But- That's weird.
No, that's pretty
Also-
standard. It
Oh.
keeps them fresh.
All right.
Also,
Also,
fridges are known to be when you shut them, they have a sealed air thing.
Yeah.
So a living being cannot survive.
yeah, but that moose is one of those special
Many
mooses.
mooses.
This was also like a talking frog and a talking wallaby.
Yeah. the
Wallaby
apparently
not in that fridge.
apparently the frogs have sex by tying their tongues together. Which I loved when Mrs. Big Head,
the documentary?
yeah, the documentary. She puts a documentary in it. It's like the mating habits of cane frogs, and then the frog jumps over and goes, "Not now, Fred."
Amazing.
now, Fred.
It was so funny. That was perfect.
Yeah,
I
I
just-
loved that plate breaking with like the really like projectile tongue.
I just-
sharing,
Weird.
like as foreplay. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
so
I
weird.
just now realized my smoker lady voice is just Mrs. Big Head.
Yeah, pretty much. Can
Rocko,
we
get over here,
Can we
please.
talk about the fact that they made a Spanish fly joke?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She
That
was
could not
looking.
be made
Yeah,
today.
she was looking for her spices, and one of them was Spanish fly. And when she put the spice in, it was literally flies that were
Like
Spanish.
Morocco's
Yeah,
little hats
yeah.
with
They
dangling
hated it from
things.
Spain.
But what's sad is it was connotating that she was trying to roofie Rocko.
Rocko, yeah,
With
to take
Spanish
advantage
fly.
of him because she was feeling unfulfilled, so she
So
decided to
So
try
she
and
was
take
trying to get
advantage of
some-
him.
She was trying to get something fulfilled.
So weird. Yeah, that was bad. And then also the touch my eye part too is odd.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Rocko, get in here and
Touch-
sauce
touch my
eyes.
eye.
And his
Yeah.
face, she put his head in between her eyes, which symbolized
Boobies.
boobies.
Well,
It just
he
reminded me
also-
of Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, he also saw her naked.
Yeah, he did see her naked, and he
Well,
zipped
just-
his eyes shut.
Well, just from the backside. We only
That
saw
big booty.
We only saw
Yeah,
the
it's our
shoulders.
big old frog booty.
That big old
That's
frog
true.
booty. Yeah, we saw the
Big
plumber
old
butt
frog
part of it.
booty, get on over
So
here.
yeah, that episode,
Get on
I
over
I
here.
don't think it was as bad as I thought it was going to be for being banned, especially since most of it would have went right over my head as a kid.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, it was so suggestive.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was literally
Yeah.
just innuendo and suggestive.
The entire
the
thing
entire
was
time.
Mrs. Bighead trying to get laid.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm laughing because Joe, your face when you yawned. Joe's face when he yawned looks so funny.
Dang it, I missed it.
I'm kind of sad because I think Cam's blocking you from the video, and I
Yeah.
wish that
And
would
I
have.
missed it.
I missed it
I
too.
got an update on my phone.
Oh my
'cause
gosh,
Kyle
that's
Kuzma scored
hilarious.
A lot of
Oh,
points.
sorry, people. I had to laugh because Joe's
And
face.
you missed it.
Yeah, and everyone else
Everyone
missed it.
missed it.
Only I saw it.
Because of
Um,
camera.
Anyway,
Hey,
so
it's
yeah,
fine.
that episode was a good one, but I think this Wacky Deli episode we watched was so good. It
was.
mirrored exactly Joe Murray's thoughts and life, pretty much.
Oh yeah,
And-
you can tell.
And not even, I mean, yeah, obviously, like, he injected his own personal philosophy into this and his own personal, like, world that he was living in. But then he also critiqued the art world. He critiqued,
Yes.
like, the entire
writing process.
This was
Yeah.
pretty much
He-
a
he-
huge
he
slap in the
crit-
face.
He
to-
critiqued, the public in general for what they
Yeah.
ingest.
well, this was a
Oh,
huge slap in the
yeah.
face to everyone he worked with,
yeah.
all the executives he worked for, and all the fans of his television show,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah. He was just like, you guys are all idiots. This
Yeah.
isn't good.
And the
Yeah,
fact that when
no.
when the person who's supposed to be him in the show decides to actually focus and make it artistic, and then it gets canceled.
yeah.
It's so
Like,
funny.
it is like the most like meta thing like
Yeah.
ever, because it's like that when you take a step back, like the show is just like this should never work. It's like the dumbest concept.
Yeah, such a
ever.
dumb, stupid concept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just
So
it
dumb.
works.
And so Cam and I were cracking up, and you guys are unaware, and we're going to talk about this, about the mayonnaise. So there's a part where he
Yeah.
is trying to sabotage
Skeeter
his
so
show.
hard that they call her Patty Mayonnaise.
Yeah. So he tries to sabotage the show by saying, let's just make it be a mayonnaise jar for 10 minutes. And it works. And that is because they wanted to do an April Fool's episode where they announced a new episode, and when everyone tuned in, it was just going to be 10 minutes of a mayonnaise jar on TV. But they decided not to do it, and he was pushing so hard to get
Yes.
Nickelodeon to approve them, to like say, oh, tell everyone there's a new Rocko's episode, and just have
It's
it
just
be
a mayonnaise jar for
a
10
mayonnaise
minutes.
jar for a still shot of mayonnaise for 10 minutes. And so he put it in
And he
his
did it
show.
in his
Yeah,
show,
that's
making fun
so
of Nickelodeon.
Funny.
It's insanely
So funny.
amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's so
a
good.
mouse.
There's something I love more than anything is when artists stand up to like the man and producers
Yeah.
and all this stuff and be like, you know what, I'm gonna make fun of you within my realm on the platform that you've given me.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more punk than like pardon my language, but like fucking it up from the inside.
Yeah.
Like if you can do that from the inside, then you're like doing what being an artist is all about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because knowledge is power.
I will say
He was
my,
the Trojan Rocko.
my favorite part definitely is the end of him like doing what he wants, like actually like making the art that he's proud of and absolutely ecstatic about. Someone sees it and goes, hey, that's not bad, but have you seen the first season of Wacky Deli?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
That's so like our culture now, where someone's like, hey, have you watched The Walking Dead? Yeah, it was good for the first 2 seasons, and that's it. Like, that's everything. Did you watch Dexter? Yeah, up till season 4. Lost was great until they did that weird season 6 thing. Like, that's how everyone is.
That just kind of broke the glass for me. Holy
Honestly,
cow.
there's a character that's
Holy
like
heifer.
that in Scott Pilgrim.
Uh-huh.
Oh, when he
Was it
says
the
their first
skateboard?
album's better than their
Yeah.
first album.
He's my favorite character, and he's like, yeah, they're good live, but really you should see them live to really appreciate the music.
It's like the people are like, yeah, you heard their first demo EP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
it's like anytime anyone makes art, they're like, oh, yeah, well, this is good. But they're like nothing like the masters. Like, have you seen Starry Night? It's like, yes, it's like printed on fucking napkins and birthday plates for
Yeah.
like little kids
Yeah.
that have
Yeah.
like an art party.
Yeah.
I don't know who does that except for me. But like other people have done that.
Like, honestly, that always, like, I may be in the minority here, but I don't know. Like, everyone's like, always like, oh yeah, I love listening to like the live album. Like, no, I like listening to the produced album where it sounds better. Like, oh yeah, I like when it's all grainy and doesn't sound good and it's live. I'm like, no, I like the edited version.
Kreger doesn't
I
own
like
any
live
vinyl.
versions.
Yeah, I love vinyl. I want it to sound like it was recorded in a trash can.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, we used to record in a shower and
Yeah.
try to experiment with different echoes and acoustics.
Because when our band, when we were recording, we really didn't have any effects or anything. So we were literally just like recording straight sound. So we did do it for the echoes to get like a vibration on the screams and
there
stuff.
were
We would
times
sit in the tub and do
we
it.
would put my guitar amp in the tub. Eric would be sitting there holding the microphone because up to the amp because we didn't have a mic stand. And we'd have the cord running under the door, and I'd be playing the guitar to our song, and he'd be in there. It's loud, and he's trying to cover his ears at the same time with the mic to an amp that's in the tub.
Those were the days.
Amazing.
I
Yeah.
remember one of the biggest things I remember too about we just evolved into like our artistic realms and stuff. But band
I
practice.
was never in a band.
No, but we would play in like the side room at Joe's house, and we would be in there for so long it would get so hot and sweaty that at one point, like I went up
so
to the
humid.
I went to the door and it was just condensating on the door on the inside. I'm like, it is so freaking hot in here right now.
It was
I remember,
basically like Florida
during
in those rooms.
my band's last show, when we packed the Legion Hall and everyone left, we were like cleaning up and like helping people pack stuff up, and it started like raining from the roof from condensation and sweat that had evaporated on
my
people's bodies.
goodness.
And it, like, I mean, that place, like, capacity was like 350 or something.
They could fit that many in there. That place is small.
And we put because we were in charge of the door, we put 450 in there.
Ooh.
And when we were left, it just was raining like youth sweat.
That is
on my
That's
body.
so gross.
Yeah.
That's so gross.
Hashtag youth sweat.
Hashtag, that sounds like the best bunk band ever.
Yeah,
Youth
youth
Sweat. Yeah. So I don't know.
Sweat,
I
we
thought it was good.
sweat.
I think that I'd probably enjoy watching more episodes.
Same.
We kept it pretty
Yeah.
short. We just watched 2 episodes. But I enjoyed it thoroughly.
You made a really good point while we were watching it, though. How
That's what I
did
do.
I'm actually surprised we liked this as kids, just
Yeah.
because we would have. There's no way we would have gotten
None of
like
the jokes.
Everything-
75% of the
Yeah,
jokes.
everything I laughed at would have made no sense to me as a kid, and that begs the point of what was I watching this for
Like
as a kid?
I feel like we only liked it because it was a cartoon, and
we were
it was
told
a little
to
bit
like
weird.
it. It's exactly like Wacky Deli. We were told to like
Yeah.
it, and we liked it. That's essentially what it was.
Yeah,
Because
it was
as everyone
Wacky
knows,
Deli.
Jordan likes that.
I like that.
That's it was Wacky Deli. We didn't
Yeah.
get any of the jokes.
I mean, there's like rapid cutting. There's a couple jokes that are like child friendly, right? Like Heifer is all kid friendly. He's
Yeah.
just dumb. He makes burp sounds. He does all these things.
Oh,
Do
and can we
even
talk
need
about
the
the?
cheese?
Can we talk about the sound effects? Like all the time, they're like, like, and like all these fart sounds for like literally no reason.
Yeah.
It'll just be
Amazing.
like nothing going on and like a fart sound.
Yeah, amazing.
I love it. I
It's a
am
10 out of
the
10.
cheese. I am the best character in this show.
I loved how when they're like critiquing in the first part and like he turns around slowly, I'm like, they pulled that straight from there and put that same thing into SpongeBob before.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
There were a lot of things, which was cool. In the second episode we were watching, it said directed by Steven Hillenburg, and it always makes me happy to see that. But
There are
He
things
does,
in there that
it's
you
cool
can
to
see
see
are the
stuff he
same.
pulled from his previous stuff
Yeah,
and put in
exactly.
Right, because he had his own style, and that's what made
Yeah.
SpongeBob so
Yeah, that's
successful.
what I
Is that he
said.
had
Yeah.
it.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Cam said it better.
Just like a seed.
Yeah. So you have anything else that you want to discuss on that?
I will say that episode with all the different Wacky Deli stuff that was supposed to be atrocious reminded me 100% of what art school was like.
Yeah. Just
It's just like so weird and like not good, but everyone loves it. Like have I told the story about the wet sponges? On here?
no, but I'm intrigued.
We're about
You
to
had
find
my
out.
you had my interest. Now you have my attention.
So
You had me at wet sponges.
You'll have mine.
So there was an artist who I'm not going to say his name, Derek, and like he was, he had filled a room in one of the galleries on campus with wet sponges all over the floor, like the regular like dish sponges that have like the little like scouring pad on the back and like
Yeah.
just a traditional yellow and green sponge. Filled them, they were all wet, and then he had ones hanging from fishing line all throughout the thing, and he had mounted them to the ceiling, all this stuff. And
Are we talking like every square inch of the floor was a wet sponge?
I mean, like just sponges everywhere. Like it
Okay.
wasn't like filled all the way to where it was all sponge.
But you couldn't
like-
step without hitting a sponge.
exactly.
Okay.
And so you walk all the way to the back of the gallery because there's a very small TV in the back, maybe like a 25-inch TV.
That's
And
huge for
you
that
walk by and
time.
you're getting hit in the face with wet sponges. Like you're stepping on wet sponges.
I just had the greatest vision, like,
Yeah, everywhere, right? It's repulsive, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is gross. They're wet sponges. But you're like, it's whatever. It's an art gallery. And then you get to the back, and there's this TV, and it's a video he recorded of him ejaculating onto sponges.
Oh,
That is disgusting.
And so you have to walk all the way back out of the gallery.
Oh, dude. Although I will give him props, that is a hilarious art show.
Oh, hilarious. And like,
I don't know what it's supposed to be
Did he-
commentating on,
No,
but
wait,
that's
So
amazing.
this is while he was in art school,
yeah.
and that didn't get him kicked out.
No, I'm a dude. Art school, everything is fair game. Like it's fine.
I mean,
and,
art.
and none of the sponges actually had jizz on
Well,
them, right? Like
obviously.
it was all water.
Yeah.
But you think that in your head, and like so he's making like some kind of stupid commentary that I was like, okay,
Perception.
I get it a little bit, like the way you perceive art, the way you perceive
You're
existence
like-
and
you're just like-
objects and that
You're
kind of
like,
thing.
you're like peeling a sponge off it.
He's like,
Yeah, I
It's a
get it.
commentary on society, man.
yeah, apparently. And but I remember walking out and being so repulsed because like I already hate mystery wet. Like
Yeah.
it's like one of my least favorite things in the world.
Mystery wet.
Hashtag mystery,
Mystery
wet.
wet.
Yeah, like if you touch something and it's mystery wet, it'll like freak me out. Like I hate it almost as much as when like Krager made a
I think we
the
have the next
Hockaloogie.
greatest
Yeah,
board game idea.
Well, I was about to say
Mystery
that's
wet.
that's our segment next week on Round and Round.
Mystery
Table.
wet.
Mystery wet.
Dude, we got to do mystery wet. Oh my god.
oh, if you make me touch things that are mystery wet, I'm gonna lose my mind.
What is this,
I am
Cam?
so
Yeah.
excited.
And so yeah, you walk out when I left and I was like, oh my god, that was so gross, but I loved it. But that whole episode with like that girl like mushing up like the meatloaf like in
Yeah.
her hand and like it was supposed to be like wacky deli all
I never
crazy.
know what she's doing.
I was just like, this is amazing. Like I was like, it's kind of on that same tier.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah.
speaking of like the sponge thing and all that, I'm going to bring up something completely different. That's essentially the embodiment of Velvet Buzzsaw is
Really?
the sponge thing you're just talking about. with-
What? Really?
Yeah, because all Velvet Buzzsaw is doing is it's an art form critiquing art as perception, and art is like, like art is only what you perceive. So
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of what's in the trailer, so it doesn't really spoil anything. But a girl gets killed near one of the art pieces, and for half the day the art exhibit opens and no one realizes she's dead because they all think it's part of the art exhibit, like
sounds about right.
saying something, and then someone finally realizes an actual dead person, and it's like this idea where it's like, okay, that's stupid. Like art has become this thing that is just so ambiguous now and hard to define that a real dead person can be confused for art because that's how
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
it's getting.
No, it's like in that critically acclaimed movie, Zoolander 2.
Greatest sentence ever.
Where it's is it Fassbender who is
I never saw the second one. I
oh,
don't know.
who the actor who plays Doctor no, sorry, not Doctor
Magneto?
no in the Infinity Wars, the
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, that actor.
That's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch.
He's in-
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch is in Zoolander 2.
Yeah, he plays. I think.
Hey, everyone's gotta
I
make
think
money
it's called
somehow.
like It, and it's like a man lady. Like you don't know what it is, and like it is all, and like yeah, it's like no one knows.
It
what
is all.
Yeah, it's
I would be very curious to
Benedict
get.
Cumberbatch is in
Cumberbund.
Zoolander 2.
We've said his name 4 different times, so like in different ways.
Benedict
Benderdack-
Bandersnatch.
Cumberbatch.
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch.
I would be very curious on your opinion, Cam, of Velvet Buzzsaw if you ever end up watching it.
I'll watch it.
Because I feel like my opinion is like just me as lonely Jordan over here that has no art
Hashtag
knowledge
lonely Jordan.
whatsoever, and then what it would be from like an art student of what
Yeah.
they thought.
An art master. Correct yourself.
Art master. Because what I thought of
Yeah,
it
now
is I
fair.
thought it was super pretentious and derivative. And
As
if that's
pretentious
me
as
saying,
me saying art master.
yeah.
Correct yourself.
yeah. So yeah.
That always, anytime it's bad, but anytime I hear the word derivative, I just think of How I Met Your Mother when Ted describes his building opening. I keep having this nightmare where King Kong refuses to climb my building because he says it's a bit derivative.
Yeah. I love when people refer to satire as too derivative. Okay. That's the point. Anyway, I think we're done talking about
What's
Rocko's.
up with that?
What's up with that? You know what really grinds my gears? I think we're done with Rocko's Modern
Non-lubricated
Life.
metal.
So before I give all the plugs here at the end, Rocko's Modern
plug it up.
Life.
Rocko's Modern Life.
That was a hoot. Spunky.
Spunky.
I can't even do the voice.
Get over here and come touch my eyeballs.
I really think we should all try and do a song, or we should do a whole episode where we're just the dude from B-52s.
At Fred?
We are on Instagram and Twitter at WreckMyPodcast, or shoot us an email at WreckMyPodcast@gmail.com.
Wreck my podcast. Wreck my podcast.
We have an Amazon link. If you click on it, you can kick us some money, and it won't cost you a thing. We'll get a percentage, and we'll be...
Wreck my podcast.
Wreck my podcast.
And then we need the girl, like the good sounding girl, that sing in the background of it.
Hashtag good sounding girl.
Hashtag good sounding girl. But yeah, you can find us those places. Yeah, we're on major podcasting apps and on YouTube.
If you're still
This is if you're
listening,
still
I don't know
listening.
why.
Yeah, this has kind of devolved a little bit. Rate, review, and subscribe. Maybe don't rate us on this episode,
one.
but
It's a
on
bit
other
derivative.
episodes, it's a bit derivative. On other episodes, we have a Patreon where you could go give us some money. I am going to be doing a contest soon.
Oh, cool.
And I'm not sure if I'm going to do it for YouTube followers or for Patreon subscribers yet. But my father...
All two of them?
You could.
No, but I mean like people signing up.
Yeah, if you sign
People
up.
signing up.
You
Okay.
could do it for both.
We could do it for both. So the first thing I'm giving away that I know for sure is that my father-in-law recently published a book of all his art and stuff like that.
Rad.
Yeah, he works for a company. I'm not going to say just in case, like legal
Yeah.
matters or whatever. But essentially, he creates
Starbucks.
He creates art for box sets of things that I'm sure everyone who listens to this podcast at least has one of. I have the methylamine barrel, the full set Breaking Bad thing up there because he's the one who created it. He created the Labyrinth 30-year or 25-year box set. All these things. He creates.
he-
I have
crazy-
that box set.
Did
Yeah.
he create the Guardians of the Galaxy one where it has like that orb?
I don't think so. No, I don't think they did any of the Marvel stuff there. But he's a really good artist. He has some super cool things. I have a few of his pieces hanging up over there and everything. So he has a book he published, and he said that he knows that I do this podcast, and he wanted to help out. So he says, hey, I'll sign one. I'll give one. You can do a contest to give it away and everything.
That's a great
Yeah.
Thank you,
giveaway.
Mr. Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to be giving that away. So it's either going to be for new Patreon subscribers or YouTube subscribers or something. So we'll be giving that away soon. So I wanted to mention that, throw that out there. But yeah, if you want to go sign up for our Patreon now, you can do that too at patreon.com/WreckMyPodcast. If you want Cam to draw you an art thingy, you could do that. That's one of the tiers. Otherwise, some of the other tiers, you get to pick a topic so that we could talk about something you like,
Right.
or just get a shout out or ask us a question even. I totally forgot. The episode we recorded of Round to Round Table, I was supposed to ask a question that Cole gave us, and I totally forgot. So sorry, Cole. We'll get you next week. But yeah,
Tanning butter.
Cole Phen is one of our Patreon subscribers
From Cole Phen
from Cole Phen
Enterprises.
Enterprises, and Ryan Buds of
Of,
Trivia
We
with
Buy Your
Buds.
Buds.com.
We buy your buds and sell them for gold.
With Buds LLC.
With Buds LLC. If you don't like us enough to just give us straight money on Patreon, you can go to wreckmypodcast.com, click the Amazon link at the top. Anything you purchase kicks us back a little bit of money.
And don't forget, whenever you go online, you have to type in HTTP, which stands for hoity-toity-toity problem.
Hoity-toity-toity problem. Thank you to Ben from Petrified Gumbo Music for that amazing intro song. You can go to
It is-
petrifiedgumbomusic.com if
I
you have
dig
any
it.
questions with him. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good song. Sounds like Blink
It
182.
is
Love it.
music.
If you haven't listened yet to our Around Around Table from Monday, go
What are you
back and
doing?
listen to that. Yeah, what are you doing? Go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I never
well,
know
thank
what
you
they're
guys for hanging out for quite a few hours and doing this and drinking beer and having fun. And thank you to anyone who's made it this far. I want to give you a personal thank you because you are the true heroes. You are the first responders. Wait, no.
And I would also like to add, what are you doing with your
Yeah,
life?
why are you listening this far? It's terrible. I think Joe has something he
Who
wants
hurt-
to end with.
Guys, I was going to say, who hurt you?
No.
Oh, no? I saw you pulling up a B-52 thing, so I thought maybe you were going for
to play it.
Okay.
I'm getting
That'll
very
be the
excited
All right.
over the
Well,
B-52.
we are done for this
Yeah.
evening. Thank you
in
for
my own
listening.
private Idaho.
Come back next week, please. I swear they're not all like this. Even though this was fun for us,
This
it may
one
not
wasn't
be fun
terrible.
for them. No,
It was just silly.
it
This
normally
was
devolves
definitely
real
okay
quick.
adjacent.
It's
Yeah, okay
silly.
adjacent. This is definitely
It's just
okay-ish.
silly.
All right, thanks, guys.
Silly.
Bye.
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 Love you.
I guess I'll say ta-ta for now.
Hoity-toity.
Ta-ta.
Hoity-toity-toity-toity problems, my dear.
Wreck My Podcast.
Podcast.
Just realized I had something else for Stoked.
Well, that's
That's
actually,
okay. Save it for next week.
Well, that's actually really funny
Unless it's
because
only relevant
I was
this week.
listening to the Dak Shepard podcast, Armchair Expert, and they have a friend who legitimately tore his ACL. He is a cashier, and he was checking people out, and just standing there, and his ACL just standing
How
there.
fat was this dude?
No, I think he was like a regular dude.
Well, I mean,
wow.
like, look at me, right? Like, when
Yeah.
I was in grad school, I weighed 185, and I'm 6'3", and I danced in some skinny jeans.
Yeah.
And I moved my leg a little bit, and my knee straight up exploded in the middle of the dirtiest street in San Francisco, and I landed next to a pile of human poop.
Yeah, sounds like
was
every
a-
scene
Sounds
concert
like
I ever
San
went to.
Francisco.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a Friday night to me.
Yeah. And then I had to walk a mile to the
Ooh.
hospital.
Probably uphill because it's San Francisco.
Everything was uphill.
Yeah.
But I had to
It's
walk.
weird because you walk uphill somewhere, and then when you're going back, it's uphill again. You're like, how the hell did this happen?
And they told me that if I didn't go to the hospital that night, I would have lost my leg.
Ooh, that's no
Are you
good.
serious?
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, that kind of scares me because I'm definitely not a go to the hospital right away. But it was it one of those things where like, no, I
needed to.
Okay, so you knew.
It was
I'm
such
joking.
my knee popped.
Could you
Were you
imagine,
alone?
though?
No, I was with three friends.
right?
Did they at least help you walk?
Yeah, they helped me
Okay,
walk, but they were all way smaller than me, so they had a hard time. But my knee dislocated, and I
Gonna make you wanna
even try.
Hard time.
No. Could you imagine?
when you
But think about what would have happened.
and I still don't know how I
All right, you guys ready to start this
Hard
Rocko's Modern Life
Yeah,
podcast?
but yeah,
Hard
I had to
times.
physically pop my knee back into
Ooh.
place so I can move.
Did
and
it
then,
sound like popcorn?
No, it actually sounded like, I mean, I don't know what it sounded like. It felt like a gunshot. Like my knee
It
was,
felt like the hymen
yeah.
being broken.
No, I kind of know.
Yeah, I know what that feels like.
I know a little bit what you're talking about. Like
I
'cause,
said
I
sounded
have,
like.
I have.
They took a piece of cartilage this big out of the back of my off my patella.
God.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's
And they
about the size
couldn't
of a 50 cent
do
piece.
anything else.
No, it was not. They felt like it was too risky to microfracture the back of my patella, so the cartilage would grow back, and so they didn't do it. And they were like, "Well, you'll just be in pain for the rest of your life." And I was like, "Thanks, doctor."
See. I'm gonna be nice. No, see, like, well, that scares me because as someone who's athletic, like, if they told me you can't run anymore, I would legitimately be like devastated.
Same. I used to play quarterback, and I pitched, and all the.
Can you
and, like,
snowboard?
I'm gonna do it anyway, but I've never gone.
Okay, well, I will
snowboarding.
take you snowboarding.
Yeah.
Jordan, you're gonna come too.
I don't even own my snowboard. I don't have a snowboard anymore. I sold
can rent
everything.
We can
very,
rent,
It's
we
very
can go.
cheap to rent.
I'm not invited.
Yeah, we don't want
No,
we don't
no,
want skiers up at
no,
Mountain High.
it's
You
in-
tried that once and did not like it.
It's implied. Joe's invited.
Actually, no.
I
Did you like it at Mountain High? I thought you said you didn't like it when we went up years ago.
No, it was trying to snowboard and feeling like I
Oh,
broke my tailbone.
That's right. We went up and you tried to snowboard. That's what it was. And you,
See,
or
you-
ski-
Skiing I
what
can
you-
handle.
Yeah.
Snowboarding,
You don't teach
I'm like,
someone at
ugh.
Mountain High.
The girl Brittany
Yeah,
that I've
never good.
been seeing, she is from Utah. So she's like an avid snowboarder.
Oh yeah.
I am so jealous of her.
Yeah, and so she said that she's going to take me snowboarding. So next time
Okay,
you go, I'll invite her up and we can all go.
Yeah, and so we'll go, and then me and her will be badasses, and we'll
And I'll
just-
learn.
No,
but
actually,
I used to
no,
surf.
me
I
and
used
her-
to surf and skate. I'll be fine.
No, I mean I'm someone who surfs and snowboards, and so like it's not that. If you can surf, I feel like you can snowboard. I mean,
Yeah, I can
if you
surf.
ever watched Johnny Tsunami, # I was left out.
I was. I
I didn't even know Cam at
Jordan
that time.
yet. Yeah.
No, but I always think it's funny because I'm his only friend who was an avid surfer.
You're his
and
only friend?
snowboard. Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
No, I'm just kidding. But
Okay.
the one story I wanted to like wrap it up with is like
Wrap this B-roll up real quick.
I kind of know it's similar. Like, so I have very weak shoulder joints from messing up playing football. I definitely had one of those beanies.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Because they sold them. They sold them at Disneyland.
The Johnny Tsunami one?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It was very similar.
The one that had like the little fluff thing
Yeah.
or whatever, the
Yeah.
like spiky hair.
They might still have them there. I
That's
know.
so
I've seen
funny.
them there. But so I have very loose shoulder joints, and I never got them fully fixed because we switched some insurances in between like getting them fixed.
That's so American of you.
yeah.
And so I just let them heal. Regardless, so I was out camping, and there was like little like very like redneck like a water park there at the lake. And
It was
so
like it was like a garden hose and like
no,
a tarp.
it was like a legit one, but it was like a pint sized one, like really small. Anyway, so there's one little slide where you're on like a little mat, but it's like a tubular one.
Tubular.
Anyway,
Bruh.
so like we went down a couple times and we saw some of the lifeguards go down there like doing like trying to get up as high as they could on the sides. And so me and my friends were like, oh, let's try that. And what they would do is they'd keep their knees on the little mat, they'd fold it, and then they put their hands on the other side of the tube so they get their body as far as they could over. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try that. And so I did, and I didn't realize at the time that motion of like extending in a certain direction is what throws your shoulders out of alignment. Yeah. And so I did that, and I felt like a pop, and so I like sit down. So I'm still sliding down the slide, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. And I go like this, and I grab my shoulder, viewers, and I could feel, I'm like, that's bumpy. That's not supposed to be this far out.
Bumpy,
But then I'm like, I move it up and down. I'm like, wait. My mild knowledge of biology, if it's dislocated, you cannot physically move it on its own.
Right.
And so I was like, screw it. And I just went, and I threw it like back in, and I was just in a lot of pain for this weekend and drank a lot.
It sucks. Yeah. Popping a joint back in. Farting hurts.
I feel like I have to tell a story now too, since you guys are doing it, and
man.
mine's so lame. So everyone who knows me personally knows that I have the body of a 65-year-old fat man, and it hates me.
Wait, the way it looks.
Yeah, okay. Fat man.
So I look.
So viewers, he has the looks of a Greek goddess.
Yeah, a goddess.
So I look trim. And like
boobs and all.
Yeah, I look good.
Jordan, you have more abs than I do, like phalanges. Like it is absurd.
But here's the thing. So I have a lot of internal bodily problems, right? And I have a hiatal hernia, or so I was told. I don't know if I still do. All conflicting things going on, whatever. All I know is that after every meal, my stomach burns. That's probably not supposed to be happening. No. But
Jordan started the fire.
So I decided one time I'm never a huge fan of going on like roller coasters or like thrill rides and stuff like that.
Wind.
So I decided one time that when I was at California Adventure that they have that roller coaster, right? And
Screaming California.
Screaming California.
And now it's the Incredicoaster.
Yeah, whatever. I'd never been on a roller coaster with a loop before, but my dad was like, "Come on, it's easy, it's nothing." I'm like, "Okay, cool, let's try it." So I go on, I have a blast, but after I get off, my stomach kind of felt weird, and I'm like, I have this like really sharp, weird pain up here, and I'm like, I can't stand up straight. I don't know what's going on. He's like, it's fine, you just had nerves, like you'll be fine once you like relax up. Well, like 2 hours go by and I'm walking through Disneyland and I'm just like, I legitimately cannot stand up straight. And I found out that my hiatal hernia, because of the loop, had knocked my stomach up into my chest cavity, like the hernia thing, and like after about 2 or 3 hours it finally went back down. And so I can't even ride a freaking roller coaster with a loop. and it hurts me.
God.
Wow.
So since that day, I've never ridden another roller coaster with a loop before because I'm like, I don't know if that's going to happen
I
again.
don't blame you.
I'm scared that's going to ever happen.
You should never
again.
be in bumper cars.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so that's me. My body hates me and wants to kill me, and I
don't know why, but that just reminded me like every time you ever like put on a sock and like it throws your hip a little bit out of like position and it starts tightening up and like
I know exactly.
Yeah, and like and you're like it's tightening up. You're like, this is where I die.
That doesn't happen with a sock. That happens when I'm sleeping and I flex too hard when like I'm sleeping.
It happened to me for the first time with my calf like a week ago.
Yeah, it sucks.
About a week ago.
Has anyone at this table like been putting on socks and your hand slips and you punch yourself in the nuts?
No, but when I make the bed, that happens to me all the time.
Has anyone ever zipped their nuts?
I've never zipped my nuts before.
I've also gotten bit on the tip of the penis and the scrotum by a dog through my jeans.
Oh, that's bad.
Her name was Abby, and we still talk.
You know what is funny though? So one time, referring back to I had mentioned I had like this weird foot problem like 2 or 3 years ago where a bone was growing on my big toe that wasn't supposed to be there, and they had to go in and like cut it off. But before they figured out there was a bone,
but you could have had an extra bone.
I know, right? Before they figured out there was a bone growing there, they didn't know why my foot was in so much pain that I couldn't put any pressure on it.
Is that the Andy Bachelor party?
Yeah,
bone?
the Andy Bachelor party. Yeah, or I had to
Andy
go into
Bachelor
this.
party bone.
Yeah, Andy Bachelor party bone. So before they told me I had gout, and I'm like,
really? Like an old lady?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm 20.
He
at
said
the
he
time,
had gout
I was like, I'm 27 or 26 years old. How do I have gout? And then I remembered what my body's like.
Why would you do that to me?
Oh, is it gross?
He just. Can I say this on air?
Yeah, I don't care.
He just showed me a picture
Of his penis.
of his cut nutsack from when he.
Goodness.
Do you guys want to see it? It's
No.
super, it's super close
good.
up. Here you go. Here it is.
Oh, that's a nutsack. Cam, I feel so close to you right
Yeah,
now.
that's just one nut. I separated the one testicle.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's not bad if it's just one nut.
Yeah, it's one nut with the dog tooth.
It's kind of like I don't know why
What did
people
Seth
freak.
Rogen? What
I
did
don't
Seth
know why
Rogen
people
say in Pineapple Express? I only went in like a half a nut. Like,
yeah.
Well, I don't know why people freak out about the whole Janet Jackson thing. So if it's just one boob, it's not bad. Just like if it's just
and
one
she
nut,
had
it's not
she had
bad
the little,
either.
She had the little like star thing around
The
her.
pasty.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, if
so
I-
we're here to talk about Rocko's Modern Life.
Hey, Rocko.
Have we actually started this podcast yet?
No.
Let's start this podcast after seeing Cam's ball sack. Just one close up.
My right nut.
Yeah. Oh, it was the right nut?
It
The
was my
dominant
right
nut?
Yeah, it was my dominant nut.
Okay, yeah.
Dom Nut.
You can do it.
That's a wrestler named Dom Nut.
Nice.
Ready, break.
Break. All right. So,
Scene. Forgot how like messed up it is how dumb they make her friend.
in Raven?
Raven.
The redhead chick.
I don't even remember who's in Raven.
So, I mean, some very attractive redhead chick who was like overly
Obese.
not smart.
Oh, not smart.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop.
Bum 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 bum.
Ha,
Big
ha. Uh-huh.
wee snaw.
Wah.
We snaw.
We are the Wreck My Podcast.
Down, 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 down.
And Cam is taking a massive piss. He drank some beer.
I downloaded that
Now
movie. I've already watched it
it's
3 times.
released.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I've
downloaded it 0 times and watched it 0 times.
That is going to piss
In the
on
bathroom.
the world.
Oh, on the world. Gonna piss on the world, huh?
Speaking of pissing on the world, I just pissed all over the toilet seat in your.
Nice.
Did you clean it?
No.
Now I have to clean it.
You are a terrible person.
I have good pee aim. I peed right into the middle of the toilet.
Right in the middle.
That's too much noise. Everyone knows you don't do that.
No, there's no way for me to detract my noise. I pee. It sounds like I am a racehorse pissing into a
I
swimming
can't
pool.
detract my noise, but I can detract my penis.
I can. Mine goes into my own body. Yeah.
Retreat!
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to talk about
Penis
this?
disengaged.
You have a robo pee-pee?
Have you seen Robo Frog 5 yet?
You know what's funny? Is,
It's
like,
all right.
Remember how we had that one conversation, like if you could have like what defines a cyborg, and like what
Yes.
would you have like me and Lindsay have been like having a conversation about like if you could have like one cyborg part, like what would it be?
Nose.
I'm like I was like like arm. She's like no, I would want like ears, so I could never have to use headphones. I'm like, you know what, a cyborg eye would be amazing.
I would rather have that because my vision's atrocious.
I would have a Schweiborg nose
Schweiborg.
because then you get a Schweiborg.
Mr. Schweiborg.
Schweiborg. Because then you could turn off the smell whenever it smells really bad.
That is nice.
Schmells.
No,
Schmells.
I think
I love the Schweiborg
I
schnoz.
want a Schweiborg schnoz. so I can
think if
turn
you
off
could
the
have one
schmells.
cyborg like part of your body, it has to be the eye because you
Penis.
can you can.
But see, that's what everyone would say.
No, you got to have an eye because you can see farther. You can record stuff like it's
Can you
can
get
record stuff.
Can you get a HUD? Can you get a
The
HUD
cyborg
going
penis.
on where it's like when you have directions somewhere, it just pops up with like a line that you follow and stuff?
The episode from Black Mirror.
Which one? Wait, I haven't seen
Story
all
of
them
you.
yet.
The
Oh,
one
that
where
one I know,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it like records everything.
Which
you
was ripped
can-
off from the final cut with Robin Williams.
I did not know
It
that.
was also ripped off of Futurama.